And hello everyone, welcome back to the Custom Track Cup season, the inaugural season. I'm your host Scoped, and I'm here with Sparkster. Hello, Sparkster.
Hello?
All right, and today we are here for just a singular match, but one match of the finals of Division 2 between State to State and Big Baller Brand. So for the record, for those that have not followed, unfortunately, both teams having some scheduling issues. They've had to play each match of this BO3 one at a time, and we are at the third one, the last match between these two teams who have been 1-1. And to start us off, Sparkster, I'll let you present the team that won the second match.
So first off, we have State to State. So they're using the same lineup as they did in match 2 with Alex, Bali, Lucas, JP, and JC bagging. So this team here, obviously we have Lucas being the, I guess, MVP of the D2 section of the teams, or the teams that were predicted from 6th to 10th. So definitely going to most likely be their main scorer, but Bali and Alex also have that higher div experience as well as JP. So I believe that all these runners here are gonna have that running experience that they have. And JC bagging, he's been practicing a lot in the past. I know he's definitely been preparing since the bagging battle is against Psycho. So I'm excited to see what he has in store for us today. And one thing I'd like to mention is that they've definitely been one of the more active teams when it comes to scrims. I think team building chemistry wise, I believe they have the slight edge over BBB. So they're definitely gonna try to use that to their advantage here. But other than that, that is it for STS, and next team will be BBB.
Thank you, Sparkster. And yeah, as you mentioned, Lucas, definitely the predicted MVP of the Division 2 teams, and for a reason, having experience in PL over the past few seasons, experience in D1, the most experience in D1 really out of both these teams, all things considered. And here we have Big Baller Brand, and with essentially the core of Health Kitchen back then, Bull last season, a lot of other names that you might have heard of, but the same HK core, with Ford and Snoopy having added Snowy during the not the previous season, but the one before that, and scoring the highest on the team with 32 at 0.6. And lastly, Val in our runner lineup, which important to note, Idlo was the one occupying that fourth runner slot in matches 1 and 2, but unfortunately he had to be subbed in for Val this time. Both players having around the same amount of average points, really comfortable in the mid pack, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue for these players, although I do know that they're more used to playing with Adlo, so maybe a bit higher synergy in that regard. So we're gonna have to take some, we're gonna have to pay attention to that. And of course, as Sparkster mentioned, a Psycho as a bagger, possibly the strongest bagger in CTs at the moment, or at the very least historically the strongest ones, just consistently smart bagging, strong strats. Overall, is a really strong bagger. And even before we started this match, JC mentioned that practicing against Psycho is brutal, but it has helped him improve quite a bit over the course of the season. So we're gonna have to see if all that practice has paid off. Let's quickly just check into the lobby here to see if we're not missing anything of the action. Doesn't seem like it. We still have only 4 players in the room with MBB hosting. Um, and I would also like to mention that, as we stated before, both these teams are already 1-1 going into this match, so already having battled it out quite a bit. And the first match was won by BBB by an outstanding 124 points, even with a -20 penalty, and the second one being won by STS by just 12 points. So yeah, definitely strong showing from BBB, maybe slipping up during the second match. We're gonna have to see if they repeat the same mistake this time. And yeah, Sparkster, how do you feel about this matchup going into this?
Uh, I honestly think that this matchup's going to be very similar to the match two. I think the result is definitely not going to be one-sided here, and I just think again the teams that get their track picks is definitely going to be a big factor, and obviously shocks is pretty important. But I think just building momentum off of track picks is definitely going to be where one team is going to get the advantage, and as long as shot count stays even and competitive, then yeah, I could see this being kind of single digits or like below 20 for the entire war.
Yeah, that's the issue. That's the thing that's making me a little worried is that I don't think, no offense to JC, of course, but I don't think shot count is going to be even if we're considering average luck. Even he said before once again we talked to him a little bit before we started this match, and he only managed to get 3 shots during the second match, and they managed to win by a hair. So um, hopefully it means that they are gonna be able to uh, keep the same score even with a similar amount of somewhat low shocks. But I heavily doubt that the shock count is going to be even. That might be the difference in this game. Of course, STS does have some really strong runners. Alex has been playing this game for a while now, been experienced in D2, D1. Lucas, one of the more consistent players in PL, and definitely having improved quite a bit and has been playing over the course of few years now. I'm sure we all remember the old Road to Emerald series, for example. But just as an example of how long this guy has been playing, has been active in this community. So really, I think it's going to be a matter of fighting against the shock deficits from STS. I don't think it's necessarily too hard. I don't think it's necessarily impossible, but it might be an uphill battle. We're going to have to see how it plays out on the track.
Was it for match three? Tracks for match one are allowed, right? Or
Yes, tracks from match 2 are not allowed. Tracks from match 1 are allowed once again. If I'm not mistaken, which I sincerely hope I am not.
yeah, if that is true, then yeah, STS can definitely counter, I guess, the shock count with chain track picks here. So
We're gonna have to see. I do see a lot of map during map 1. I'm noticing a lot of tracks such as Alpine Skyway, such as I'm gonna try again. Tiger Lumberco that BBB are really proficient on, and that are now unlocked once again going into this third match. So definitely going to be interesting to see how that goes during the track selection. Oh, my host is currently is informing me that there might be a complete lack of repicks, which in that case, it's definitely going to be interesting then to see how far along each team's track pool goes. It's simply a matter of digging deep into your bag of tricks and seeing exactly what you're able to pull off with your lesser known track picks. I'm how do you think, by the way, this would affect the match if indeed, um, well, it's essentially a matter of which team do you think has the deeper track pool here, Sparkster?
I think I think STS has refined their tracks more to them. I think they're better at their own tracks as I'd say they're a bit more niche sort of than BBB's picks. I think like tracks kind of like Rainbow Road Solar Edition, and Sandstone Cliffs. I don't really see other teams pick those tracks compared to BBB, where they have like Lost Fortress and Great Apple War, where I'd say they're a bit more popular. So I think both teams definitely have a disadvantage when it comes to track picks, as obviously they don't have their strong tracks. So there's definitely going to be a lot of creativity here to see what tracks they could benefit off of.
Yeah, saying that Sandstone is not a popular pick is definitely a choice, but I'm not going to comment on that fact. But yeah, was indeed checking in once again, and indeed, neither team can pick any tracks that have been played in both matches 1 and 2. So the tracks that we have mentioned will not see today. But yeah, as you mentioned, I do think BBB do have the edge here simply due to one, the sheer amount of experience that they have as a team. The HK core has been playing for years at this point. They have had time to practice a lot of different tracks. And I do think that there is a chance that they might be more comfortable on more neutral track picks that either team might go for. When the chips are down, you usually don't want to pick, for example, any tech tracks that you're really not comfortable on, so you might go for something a little simpler. And I do think BBB might have the edge in that regard, but we're going to have to see if STS can prove me wrong in that regard. With that being said, unfortunately we are still missing the baggers, so we are going to actually take a quick peek at the track list before we go into the match here, trying to spot what are the tracks that are remaining on either of those teams' track lists here. For BBB, for example, Blissful Block is still on the table as one. Festival Town is another. Canyon Run is another one, big tech track that I know, for example, Lucas is comfortable on, even though he has one of the most peculiar ways to take the shroomless that I've ever seen. Ribbon Road is also one that has not been picked yet. So a lot of really, a lot of really bizarre, not bizarre, more so niche tech tracks that have still not been picked on the side of BBB that could maybe throw the people in STS off the course, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely tracks on both teams here. I think SCS still has like Dragon Battlegrounds and Castle of Darkness, I believe. I'm not pretty confident that they have not been picked, but again, it's just these like less sort of popular tracks that we don't see many teams pick, but that's where there could be that secret advantage that the other team won't have. I think
The
Ribbon Road was picked match 2, I believe, so
let me quickly check again. It was picked indeed. My bad. I
yeah.
misread. Oh, misread quickly. Good catch on your end, Sparkster. Thank you. But yeah, there is one thing that I want to say is that STS's niche tracks have been in the game for a lot longer, whether Castle of Darkness and Dragon Burial Grounds. So I think there is maybe more of a chance that BVB are more used to them. For example, compared to tracks like Blissful Block that have been in the game for a lot less time. Obviously, this doesn't quite apply to Canyon Run, for example. But I do think that due to how old these tracks are, there's a chance that BVB are not quite as thrown off on these specific track picks compared to STS. But once again, we're going to have to see if I am proven wrong in that regard. I do think that BBB will most likely take the BO3 in general, simply due to the momentum going into this third match may be slightly in STS's favor, but winning one match by 120 versus 14, definitely a big display of strength on match one coming from BBB. I'm gonna have to see if they're if like you said, it's most likely going to be a game of momentum. You can't let BBB get away with a couple big races. You have to reel it in as soon as possible and just try and keep the lead for the entire time. For example, the match MI versus Omega comes to mind during Division 1 semifinals where MI was just constantly in the lead and Omega was never quite able to catch up. So I think there is a big chance that this match goes similarly in the sense that momentum might play a big part with or without the track picks getting involved.
Yeah, I'd also like to point out that for the momentum base here, it's gonna be for STS since it's predicted that Psycho will be having a majority of shocks. It's gonna be kind of a choice of a game style. Is it gonna be prioritize running power and praying that you pull shock and then they don't like triple dodge every race, or is it gonna be sort of a play style of mostly play in the back to prevent those dodges and then try catching up in lap 3. So we're gonna see what they choose here, or they could do a bit of both. But I'm
Hogging
interested
dodges
to see.
Hogging dodges could also be a strat. If you get a star early, might want to prevent the other team from getting some dodges to either predict your shock or just simply take advantage of your own. So we'll have to see what the players in the mid pack decide to go for in that regard. But there's one last thing that I do want to point out, actually, since we are still on those track picks. That Dragon Burial Grounds and Castle of Darkness both have some really um, niche and highly difficult banging strats, and the fact that those tracks in this banging matchup, they might even favor Psycho in the end, those state-to-state track picks. For example, we know that Castle of Darkness has a lot of tech going on when you're going back to go a little bit faster, whether it comes through the like the gap in the window, for example, in the spiral, or just simply getting some bonks faster, getting some lines faster in general. So there is a chance that the STS track picks might come back to bite them, depending on how the banging matchup goes. I'm quickly just checking in the division rep chat. It does seem like Psycho should get in any minute if he's not already in. So hopefully we won't have to wait too long for this. But there are still a lot of tracks left on the board. As you know, Division 1 and 2 were merged this season, so you have 10 track lists to go off of. You have more than enough opportunities to get tracks that you want. Some more classic ones that I'm expecting to see, for example, Aqua Dungeon is one that is still just as strong as it ever was, even getting banned at one point due to how oversaturated it was. Even with the addition of the bagging strats, there is a high chance that we see this getting picked for any team going into 3. Of course, tracks like Castle of Time, Banished Keep, Aquadome Stage. I'm seeing a lot of tracks in TMNG that fit the bill really, but stuff like Alpine Peak, Cityscape, those sorts of more classic tracks that you see a lot of teams pick, that those might be tracks that you end up seeing in that regard. So it seems that we hopefully won't have to wait a little too long. There is a bit of delay on the streams, so we did call it already in the rep chat, but we should get started rather soon. Any last words before we go into this match, Sparkster?
Um, no, I think you've kind of summarized everything that we should keep in mind for this match. Is just what tracks they have. Again, yeah, they have a lot of tracks. They don't need to only pick from the 10 tracks that they drafted. So there's definitely a lot of, again, secret tracks that they could pick from different lists that they could have a advantage on.
Also, just a bunch of retros if you really want to play it safe more so. We have stuff like Waluigi Pinball, Banshee Boardwalk, classic running track picks that you don't need a lot of tech skill on, and then you can just rely on your running power if you're comfortable in the top spots. So I think, yeah, it's either going to be a matter of pulling out some tricks out of your back pocket or simply picking some more neutral classic tracks that we're more so used to seeing in some competitive settings. And here we go. So, as mentioned, we do have Snoopy, we have Lucas, and we have JC as a bagger in our POVs. And speaking of classic running tracks, we're already seeing one in Bowser Castle 2 being picked up alongside Siberian Chateau, another classic 1-3 track pick with Dragon Burial Grounds, a more classic even track pick for SES specifically, going to be the first choice. And it is going to be our first pick immediately. So we're going to have to see if our theories immediately pay off in regards of the bagging battle and just how comfortable SES is on this track compared to BBB.
So we're probably going to see Lucas here in second trying to bump out Sympian. It does look like he's in one on his screen.
Yeah, He is in one, getting the Superman strat immediately and just getting into first while he gets sniped out. It seems like there is simply a red going for him, and it will break on the wall. Thankfully, Lucas will have the time to catch up, but it seems like there's a lot of BBB on his trail. We see 234 right behind him with Snowy leading the charge in second here, as we're gonna have to see how long how long his lead into first will last. Most likely, going to be able to take the Shroomless here. Snoopy getting the Shroom in second there with Snowy. A little bit of lag on his end. All three players taking the Shroomless and the Shroomka. Lucas still in first for the time being with no snipes in sight. That red will get blocked by the Nana that Lucas has. Seems that this STS track pick so far has been pretty comfortable for them, and like we do see some of the maggers here, and JC actually makes it first. Psycho is still at the wall, so JC will actually be able to chain in 10. Seems like he's making me eat my words right away, but there is a blue coming for Lucas. Great flow on his end, making sure that Snoopy snows down alongside him. But unfortunately, the TC on the side of STS and Snowy, sorry, running past means that BBB will keep a top two with STS right behind them. Let's switch POVs quickly to Lucas as he holds on a Mega in third right after the blue. Definitely what you want to see when your bagger is in 10th.
This could be really good for STS, assuming that JC possibly did pull shock in those two more boxes that he had in 10. And baggers are running, so. And yeah, JC does have shock, so this could be really good for STS.
It seems like there is a bigger delay on JC's stream. We're gonna have to keep that in mind. But yeah, absolutely massive pull there. But no, Luke is dodging the green and getting into the void right away. Well, we see a dodge. It doesn't seem like it. We do see Val running past alongside Ford, and the shock comes out with one dodger on STS dodging in a star. But yeah, you need to call that early with your other dodge and being gone, preventing the shroom cuts. And what looked like a huge race from STS might be looking a lot worse than it could have been, but we do see JP alongside the last dodger from STS up there, but Snowy is still in first, I believe. It seems like the other dodger from STS might have fallen off, actually, because I only see JP up there. Let's switch POVs really quickly over to uh, Snoopy here. Yeah, you see that it's only Snoopy, Snowy in there with JP in third. And even with that shock, it seems that BBB have been completely dominating this race, ending in a top 3-5 for that very first race on STS's track pick.
Yeah, that green was very unfortunate. I believe Bali was the STS dodger there, but again, he was nowhere to be seen after the cut, so the possibility of him getting bumped off or backed on the cut is probably what happened.
It was Bali indeed. The lack of name on the map just made me. Oh, it is a top four even with JP getting comboed with the POW after his TC. Instead of a top 3-5, it's a straight top four. Definitely not what you want to see at the start of your match 3 of finals.
Especially on their track pick there, but it's only one race, so they just have to forget about that race. And as long as BBB doesn't chain 2 to 3 running tracks here, then they still have 11 races to catch up to a catch-upable deficit here.
Yeah, it is definitely a shame that you immediately go down around 30 points, but you do still have 11 races remaining. It's the 12th of your match. You can't dwell on that for too long. You just have to keep on going and forget about those early jitters. But yeah, that green was expertly played there by BBB. I do believe it was Snoopy, actually, Snoopy's back green that led Lucas astray. Plus 29, yeah, with JC ending up in ninth. Garden of Dreams, Warrior Stadium, two more classic track picks as we mentioned, and yes, Warrior Stadium is going to be a pick. BBB have been picking this for a while now, and for good reason, as I do believe it's possibly one of the, at the very least, if not the strongest, one of the strongest running tracks in this game still.
Yes, it's definitely a very underrated running track. A lot of people just prefer Skyline, but I
Ooh, a lot of
personally,
A lot of bumps at
Perfect.
the start. Sorry, but we do see SES already making it 2-2-3 right away. We mentioned strong running track, but a lot of BBB just bumping into the walls. And now with that TC as well on the side of Ford, it does seem like SES has a huge start to this race. A bit of a blunder coming on the side of BBB.
It seems JC isn't 10 right now, but again,
Oh, and
whatever bagger pulls Bill here is stuck with Bill, as you cannot drop Bill unless you do. A very difficult wall clip, but
I do
let's
believe
see.
a lot of baggers have gone more comfortable with it, but yeah, it's a lot more difficult than a lot of other tracks. Uh, Sorry to cut you off, but we do see Snoopy making his way into the top three here with Snowy just running away for now. So thankfully, BBB have managed to at the very least stabilize a little bit coming into lap two.
Yeah, Snoopy's main job here is just gonna try hit out JP as they're 2-4 right now, but I believe Lucas is streaming up, so 2-3 for STS now. Avoids the red. No, he does not actually. He gets redded here, so back to 1-3 for BB. And now all STS needs here is a blue, as JP is holding this red for a possible combo. Nano snipe attempt misses.
Yeah, as you
JC,
mentioned.
sorry.
No worries. As you mentioned, it really only comes down to a blue. There is a lot of boost panels on this track, so hopefully you'd be able to somewhat soften the impact on the side of Snowy here. But maybe we're just simply holding the blue on the side of BBV. It doesn't seem like any are flying through the air right now. JT, sorry, does end up getting hit, burning a shroom in the process, but it looks like he does manage to barely eke out the red there and trails Snoopy in the process. Great play by him in general, as we do see Lucas building up here into third place. It does look like a pretty good race from STS as long as they can hold on for a little bit. JP does get hit out at the end. There is a shock coming out. It is dodged by Alex here. Val doesn't quite manage to get the hit, but that shock from BBB helps them stabilize a little bit as they get 1-3.
A big swing of momentum there. But very good that Lucas pulled the bill there, as that could have been a way better race for BB, as they did have shock at the end.
There's a chance that that bill has simply forced them to delay the shock a little bit and helping Alex get the second place here. 2-4, definitely not still not what you want to see having such a good start to the race, but Snowy, unfortunately, without a blue there, is just untouchable and just kept first the entire way, as you usually do on Wario Stadium, really. Just back tight, keep going as fast as you can, and if there's no blue, that's just an easy win for you.
Yeah, especially that on a strong running track like that, then. But here, BUB is just going to be praying with another track pick here, and they're going to be resorting to BC2, so they do get this track pick here. This could be really good, and they could even further extend their lead. And Tropical Factory from STS,
That's not what I was expecting, that's for
that
certain
is a
in 2-4.
track pick right there.
We did see
Definitely,
it by Omega earlier in the season, but definitely didn't expect to see it here. BT2 more classic that we saw early on in the track selection, and it is going to be our pick in the end.
first does have a slightly bad line, as they are stuck close to the right wall, but they do have a good chance of keeping one here, but we will see
Might
after the
depend
first
on
one
lag.
here.
Draft
And Alex does
Val,
bump out one there.
and Alex gets into first, it seems, so their track pick coming back to bite them, but triple red from Snoopy immediately getting them back as Lucas passes off that CC onto the 8th placer. But yeah, a lot of chaos in the start immediately, and I do expect. Ooh, was that an attempt at a fish? Possibly. But either way, thankfully for Psycho, the star runs out rather quickly, so no pens here as JP gets hit, and we see a lot of chaos in the mid pack, but still some SES members in 2-3, it looks like.
Yeah, very mixed pack right now, so just gonna be a game of whoever pulls blue here. And it does seem that Psycho is in 10 right now, so very good chance that BB will be pulling shock here.
JC getting random green. Lucas pulling a mega in fifth there behind two of his teammates. They do occupy 3 out of the top 6 here, so that does look pretty good. But bottom 2 for BBB means a high chance of pulling pulling some dodges. But unfortunately, we did see a member of STS. I do believe it was Bali falling off the track there, leading Alex and Lucas being the only two members of STS in the top 4 here, as we do see JP goldening up into 4th. So STS still having quite the amount of thought spots here, as Psycho is still running backwards, so there is a chance that Shock is yet to be pulled for the time being. But seeing that BBB might be holding on to some dodges, there's a chance for a lot of pack mix-up, but very nice back green onto 4th there by Alex. 2-3-4 for STS now.
Yeah, with how split this pack is, they're definitely going to be trying to play for 2v4 unless they pull Shock or a late blue here, but Lucas is going to be forcing the Mega here, so okay, 2 Megas for STS, so if they do have Shock, this could be really good, and Shock does come out, so this could be a top 2, but Val dodges as well.
The JC dropped a star. This wasn't STS Shock, this was a BBB Shock, but that means they get top 2 for free. They didn't delay the Shock, and STS just gets 2 dodges in Mega and 2-3. They were just too far for BBB to notice. You didn't have the eyes of Ford in the mid pack. You just had Snowy. You just had Snowy in Snoopy in first. Sorry, you just had Snoopy in first, and he did not see the 2 megas behind him. So you just give 2 dodges there, and then JP is just able to trail Val with triple greens there as he was trimming up. So that's top 2 for STS off the back of a BBB Shock. You love to see it if you're STS right now.
Yeah, it's definitely a very huge comeback there of that race, but that's definitely what they need there to swing momentum, as that could have been a very good race for BBB if they just coordinated a bit better, but
I don't think it's necessarily a matter of coordination. I think it's simply that you don't expect 2-3 to be pulling megas here. Maybe if you observed that they didn't use any items for like a lap and a half, maybe, but Ford was being sandwiched between 2 and 4, so maybe he was just trying to avoid some items until unfortunately he got hit at the grate before the boost panel. So yeah, unfortunately, you're just not able to really do anything about that. You just have to use the shock at the end to try and get your bottom spots back up. And Val maybe could have gone first, but JP just doing the job well to hit him out before the end there. Canyon Run being picked, one of the very few track picks that BBB still have on their list at this point.
Yeah, the main factor is definitely going to be the Streamless Balloonka, and you did say that Lucas does it in a certain way, but we're going to see.
Have you not seen it? Genuine question.
I'm honestly curious. Usually, the way I see it is just people hop over the ramp and then do a trick.
I don't know if he still does it the same way, but the way I saw it during the last time I saw him play was definitely an interesting one. Ooh, and a back bomb immediately, but it will be traded with the fib up onto 4th there. A bit of chaos at the start. We know how strong the first shroom cut is, so no wonder it's so, oh no, oh, we don't see it immediately, okay. So teasing us a little bit with that, or trying to prove me wrong, maybe, I don't know. But Snoopy actually pulling the bill in 8th, and that's massive because remember, folks, this track is pure sitting. You don't, you can never go any further back than that. So pulling bill guarantees that your bagger can just keep chaining without any fear. So there is a chance that BVB simply pulled the shock earlier, but unfortunately for us, it means that both our POVs are most likely going to be holding onto those dodges for quite a while. Oh, and right as I say that, Lucas trying to chain it, but being box stolen by Ford and simply going to use it to take the cut here.
Snoopy's also in Bill here, but probably going to see no shock here.
Was there a drop pow, maybe?
Possibly, yeah. He takes cut here?
Oh, he picked it. Okay. At a certain point, he drifted into it and TF'd onto the balloon, which
What?
yeah, It's still in his tutorial. If you're curious as to what I'm talking about, it is in his old custom track shortcuts tutorial. So definitely an interesting watch. But back to the track at hand here, as Lucas now with triple reds with two BVV members behind him still, 2-4-5 for STS as we go into the last lap here. That POW could be absolutely massive, but you want to hold on as Alex is in the middle of a cut there, so unfortunately not going to be able to use it just yet. There could be a target POW onto Val here to target power him on the cut, guarantee that STS does get up there, and it seems that that is what's going to happen. Val forced around as STS goes for the cut, JP going for it, Alex going around. JP does make it in a hair's breadth onto Val here. Bomb being thrown up, it's going to bounce back. Oh, never mind, it went through the bridge. Okay, did not expect that, but it does not connect onto Alex anyway. Val, Red's being thrown his way. Will we see a lead change? Doesn't seem like it, as Alex hits the pokey, but ends up shooting out a red towards them, allowing him to keep that top four space here. And it seems like it's not a really good race for STS.
Yeah, I believe it was bottom two for STS, but that pokey hit, uh, I guess kind of benefited Alex in a way, but again, yeah, I believe it's just a matter of that POW was really good. Got JP into one, but I believe Val got back into first somehow, either from a snipe or just a mistake from JP. But yeah, 1-3-5-6, so slight winning race and a very massive GP here.
Yeah, plus 42 and 1 GP. Funnily enough, if you recall back to what we were talking about earlier well, during the pre-match, we are on pace, actually a little bit further than that, for DDD to repeat the same score that they had during match 1, 126 instead of 124. So it looks like we are going to need to see some a bit of a shakeup on the side of STS if we don't want to see a repeat of match 1. Another GVABC picked on the side of DVV, as we mentioned, those more neutral tactics that they might be more comfortable on, and Tropical Factory picked once again. I'm excited to see what STS are cooking here with Tropical Factory. Not a track that's on their list at all. So
There's
is it is
there's definitely some ZA inspiration because they've scrimmed us a lot. So, but it's gonna be BC4 here, and the main factor here is definitely gonna be, well, if on the bagging side, who is gonna make the bagging strat here, as that's gonna be really huge here, and also frontal presence since there are no shortcuts, so it's just gonna be purely driving here.
Absolutely. One of the most infamous bagging strats here, oh Snoopy, immediately pulling a TC and getting redded. Definitely not the strat that you want, that's for sure. We do see Snowy spinning as well. And that's three of BBB in bottom three immediately. Let's switch over POVs to Lucas here as Snoopy is going to be stuck in the back for quite a while now. Lucas in the thick of it in fourth place right now. We see a lot of STS ahead, and it could very well be a top four, and it looks like it is. Lucas is going to try and complete the overtake here, going to be able to throw that red onto fourth, and is now a top four for STS. And now Lucas has a lot of work to do in fourth to try and hold back the pack. Unfortunately, a miscommunicated Nana leads to a back bomb onto two players of BBB, and look at the pack split that top three has already.
Yeah, so and these triple reds is very massive here, and JC's main goal here is probably just gonna to keep it shockless, and Lucas's role here is just gonna be flagging with these reds for most of the race here,
Absolutely,
just to give top three the biggest break possible.
he doesn't even need to really chain at this point. He can simply, and that's exactly
Oh,
why. Granted, it's just more possibilities to flag at this point as he's going to try and pass it on to Ford, but unfortunately, that room and some more reds that will prevent Lucas from doing any more damage here. Unfortunately, pulling that PC rather early in the race. Snoopy holding on to that bill there, as we do see both baggers are still at the set here. None of them have gone. Never mind. Never mind. One of them has made. As we do see three members behind Snoopy at this point, one of them being most likely one of the baggers. We're going to have to check out who it is depending on who is sitting at the set at this point. Early, and it was Psycho that made the strat. Early build from Snoopy at the end of lap 2, going to guide him all the way to third place and possibly even first, given how long Shock is going to last. Lasted a little shorter than I thought, and now Snoopy being sandwiched between the two STS players and immediately side-redded, but the red does end up falling onto Alex as well, makes his way into second place with triple reds, a lot of jumbling in the mid-pack after that shock.
Yeah, this could definitely be good for BBB as Psycho is perma 10 right now, so we could definitely see a late shock here as BBB is occupying most of the mid spots here. Bomb attempt comes up, bit of avoidance. And Lucas is still in 8, so he could be holding a dodge here, but
Yeah, both of our POVs in bottom 2, unfortunately, no eyes on the front of the pack. Waiting for a box 8 makes me think that BBB already have a second shock, and Snoopy wants to try and take advantage of it as much as possible. They did need that early shock there with how far behind they were, but we're gonna have to see if Snoopy can make the most of it. Doesn't seem like it. Both of our bottom spots do end up with golden tier or triple trims, it looks like, as Lucas ends up further behind. But we do see BBB in 4, 6, 7 here, so there is a chance that STS still gonna win the race out of this, depending on who got first.
yeah, that early shock was definitely very huge for BBB as they were just going to run, or STS was just going to run top 3 with that. And that TC was very unfortunate for Lucas, but again, it just gave more opportunity for slagging. And whoever gets first here with JP getting, actually, STS getting top 2, 5.
Top 2 out of that with Bali in 5th and Lucas in 8th, not really able to catch up during any point in the race, but that is a winning race for STS with a BBB shock. I'm starting to notice a pattern here, Sparkster, of the teams with shocks still losing the race in this match.
Yeah, the both teams are doing well, I guess, doing counterplay against shocks. One team isn't benefiting off of just fully relying on dodging here, and we're going to see a Mushroom Peaks coming out
Oh, good lord.
on yeah, from BBB. So if it is
Uh,
Mushroom Peaks, we're gonna be most likely expecting a shockless as it is just sitting on one item box for 4 minutes. So
if it's Mushroom Peaks, you're solo casting next round. I'm joking, I'm joking. And Spooky Swamp is going to be picked, the other STS track, sorry, the other BBB track pick in this track pick selection screen. So, Spooky Swamp, another really heavy tech track, one that we saw from 6th Sense last time during Division 1 semis and finals there, picked by BBB instead. So we're gonna have to see if we see many double cut takers near the end of the track. Of course, as you all know, triple shrooms, well, that's pretty much the exact item that you want in this spot. Some extremely strong shroom cuts on Spooky Swamp, but requiring a little bit of finesse more so than other tracks out there. So Snoopy burning 2 of those shrooms, trying to get away from the reds behind him and getting into third place there. Gonna burn that last shroom, not waiting till the end of the track just to get away from 2-3. Definitely a good option if you ask me.
both baggers are very close to each other, so it's definitely going to be an even chance of who pulls shock here. And as long as Snoopy keeps one here, and also whoever takes cut here, as this two shroom cut is definitely the deciding factor of
With
this whole cut.
Speaking of two shroom cut, actually, Lucas takes the golden all the way, but fails the ending. Oh no, Lucas could have been pretty much gone in first if he managed to make it, but unfortunately, the nerves and the timing of the golden sometimes causing you to hop a little bit too early compared to what you want to. It seems that there was a member of, I assume, BBB falling there, as STS are now top 2-4 going into lap 2. With a blooper being chained by Snoopy and another TC from Lucas in fourth. Unfortunately, I do not think he can catch up to Snoopy there, and there is not much of a chance to pass it, simply choosing to take it there. Let's switch over to Snoopy a little bit as he does make his way into second here behind Bali. here in second place with that red. And Bali actually a little bit of a fail, forcing him to go a lot closer to Snoopy here, as he is going to be able to simply chain those reds. The fib not connecting, and two reds at this point. You're expecting Snoopy to get back into first place. As long as he doesn't get back here, it is a rather narrow road, but it seems like Bali does not quite have the items necessary to hit him out. Snoopy choosing to hold on to those reds for quite a while at this point. Granted, the winding roads do make it a lot more difficult, but JC has the shock. We're going to have to keep that in mind and target POW onto Bali there, and the red is not going to connect. Actually, it breaks on the lamppost here, and Bali is somehow still in first.
Yeah, we're probably fifth attempt comes out good avoidance from Bali here, and all BBB is praying here is a blue, but with STS mostly in mid spots here, we could be seeing STS holding blue here, and since they do have shock, Lucas actually has a star in 5, so this could be really good here as STS are 1-4-5, and
Well, that
shock
is an
should be coming out here.
as an early shock there, but it does get the BVB members off of cut. Snoopy having thankfully, seeing it coming and taking the upper path there, trying to make sure he doesn't get target shocked in the mud. But Lucas now with a Shroom in first, another blue shell is going to be able to be rolled there after this shock. Will we see another cut attempt from Lucas here? No, it seems like he is simply going to choose to play it safe. No Shroom cut takers behind him. Snoopy chose to take the safer one here with the fib, going to try and see if he can back out Bali, and he does manage to hit him out, but it will only get BVB one spot as they get 2-3 here.
That shock is definitely very clutch for STS, as the pack was pretty split, so it was really good that STS were 3 of the 5 top spots there, and that fib at the end is definitely saves BBB a bit, but it's still going to be an even race, which for BBB is honestly fine in the position they are. They don't need extremely, they're not in a very dire situation, and yeah, 2-3-5-8 is either a +1 or -1, not sure, but an even.
With JC being in ninth, I assume it's going to be a -1 for BVB here in this position, which, as you said, you're still absolutely fine with. Yeah, -1 race for a BVB there for the second race of GP2, going across the halfway point of the war with a +30 uh, with a +30 scoreline here, but it is a -12 for the GP itself. So maybe we are seeing a little bit of an STS renaissance here, as they have been occupying a lot more of the top spots than they have during the first GP, Sparkster.
Yeah, these mostly running tracks have been picked, but yeah, STS are doing a really good job of getting BBB out of top spots extremely quickly and fast into the race, which is definitely helping them. And again, Mushroom Peaks is, but it is not Mushroom Peaks, and it is Optimus Palace, which is again, uh, definitely a ZA staple. Probably the only team that picked it was ZA, but again, with the amount of scrims that they played against the team, they definitely have gotten a lot of practice on it, and we could probably see good frontal presence here.
Yeah, a lot of work there for Lucas. Gonna try and keep that's the front line of STS, with Bolly actually making his way into second immediately, and with Snoopy missing that trick, guaranteeing that Bolly stays in second for now. So immediate top two on the side of STS. Will we see a double back there on and perfect double back, as I call it. Lucas backing tight there, getting Snoopy in his crosshairs, and STS making their way into the top spots. We see Alex in fifth at this point. Snowy and Val, I believe. Yeah, in 3-4 with Snoopy holding on to that POW there. Most likely going to call it in before before the next set, preventing any potential cut takers. And an immediate blue actually onto Lucas. We were talking about it earlier, but it comes one race later here with Lucas going to be thrown out all the way into sixth. And Alex using a mega there, but unfortunately the hitbox makes him fall into the void. So suddenly the race turns into a really big advantage there for STS, as Bali is the only one left up there.
This track is sitting when it comes to bang, so it's definitely going to be up to the runners here to get up to the top spots as quickly as possible. But Lucas does pull a TC and passes it to Snowy really good. So now he's just gonna try his best to not get it passed back. And Snowy does get TC'd, so now it's a 1-3 for STS here. And now for BBB, they just need a chain for blue here as Bali keeps one here. No one fails cut. And it should be shockless here still.
Yeah, Bali actually being the one to back out Snowy, allowing Lucas to pass that TC. So great play from him there in first place to get his team as much of the lead as possible. Val getting sniped out as well, allowing Lucas to get into second place. And seeing as he hasn't chained any items, I do believe Lucas has a shroom to take the cut, so should remain in second now, unless I eat my words. But it does seem indeed taking the cut there, staying in top two, and we're back where the race started, ladies and gentlemen.
It does seem that one bagger is driving backwards, but they're past the set, so it could say that one of the baggers does have shock, and that is true. One of the baggers is running forward, but
I do think maybe. Oh, it does look like it's Psycho. Yeah, JC does have the shock. We do have a little bit of delay, but maybe sorry, maybe Psycho burning a bill there to try and chain for shock, but it is not going to pan out for them. JC does end up pulling that shock and is going to keep it. So most likely going to be able to get secure in that top two at the very least for STS. They're possibly preventing any cut takers in the mid pack and dodging in the back. Snoopy going to be able to throw that fib and not connecting. Unfortunately, a good awareness on the side of Bolly and Lucas here. Will we see a shroom cut? No. Lucas simply takes the cut, but Val uh, dodging in the mid spot there with that mega, going to shroom up here, but we see Alex doing the same, so it's still going to be 1-3-4, just a little bit of a mix-up there of the top spots, 1-3-4-8 for STS with that shock on Obstagoon's Palace, but really, that good race is simply a result of their good frontal presence all throughout.
yeah, they definitely did have good front presence. That practice definitely paid off there as they kept top spots for that whole race. And even though Val dodged that shock, I believe it was definitely worth it. And they get a pretty good winning race here of 1-3-4-8 and very clutch shock from JC.
I do think that Alex was somewhere around 6th or 7th, so making it all the way to essentially 4th to just simply losing second here, I do think is absolutely worth it in the end there. So that is going to be a plus 11 race for STS there as we're making it closer and closer at the end of the GP2, and it does look like we are not going to see the same result as in GP1 there, sorry, as in map 1, as it's growing a lot closer. So seems like your prediction is coming closer and closer to fruition, Sparkster.
Yeah, STS is doing a really good job come back in this GP, especially. Then it's good that they're not letting one bad GP affect their mental here. And we're seeing, again, another niche pick, Medieval Castle Grounds. Definitely a track that is an Albatross staple, but we're going to see if they have practice on, but it is going to be Christmas Court, which is a very good 1-3 track here. So we could see STS keeping their top spots here.
Yeah, the classic alongside Siberian Chateau. We do see STS chaining quite a few track picks here in the second GP, so definitely have definitely a bit more luck coming from Mr. Bean here as we do see Christmas Court being picked, but it does seem like Val has made his way into second here. Bali not able to keep that top spot, making it all the way to third, but actually stealing that box away from Snoopy, preventing him from getting anything here. And it does look like Bolly could have some shrooms here to take the cut, absolutely. But so does Snoopy, managing to get some barely before the cut, as there is maybe one of the baggers bumping Snowy there, it looked like. It
I
seems like
believe
it was
JC did
forced.
bump him, yeah.
We're gonna have to check the pens at the end there. Snoopy using that last room to get up there and bumping Bolly off in the process. Great play by him, managing to get up into first place at this point. some shells being thrown out at Snowy from both JP and Lucas, but none of them seem to connect, as unfortunately that blooper, not what you want. Great bomb snipe though by JP, managing to get Snowy there. Nice avoidance on those back greens and immediately backing one onto forward as well. 2-3 on the side of STS. Great play from them to get back into some top spots.
Both baggers are close to each other, so it's still gonna be shockless and a even bagging battle here. So actually, never mind. One of the baggers is driving forward, so
Going to the set before the strat, I would assume. Simply just either not being confident or preferring to chain there. Great back by Snoopy.
sure.
Some great item play by him overall, just getting some STS members out, but we do see a lot of them right behind Lucas, aside from Val. I do believe they're 2-4-5 right now, and JT actually has pulled the shock. Possibly right before the strat. I think what happened there is that simply he got the shock right before the strat and oh, unfortunate fib, and chose to well, slow down enough to not get the respawn as he pulled the shock there on that set. But Val actually getting into second place here. We're gonna have to see if there's any dodges coming out from STS before the cut. JP does take the shroom cut here, but it does not look like Shock is coming out soon. Maybe just giving themselves a little bit more time to get some dodges. Snowy failing the tree trick here and allowing Lucas to combo him into fourth place. Will we see a Shock on the railing? Doesn't seem like it. Most likely going to be a last set Shock, calling them into the set here. No, it's simply choosing to
No,
save it.
bomb comes out and is not connect,
The
but
No Shock coming out at all. Interesting.
dude,
Did we?
STS just tried playing safe there. They did get 3, 4, 5, 6, but
I think you definitely could have played that a bit better, possibly if you. Granted, JP did have a shroom for cut, for the first shroom cut, but possibly calling it like right at the exit of the shroom cut onto your boost panels, and after VVV's set there could have been an option, or the rail itself. We'd know how infuriating it can be to get shocked on that rail, simply to just not be able to cross it entirely. But simply playing it safe, unfortunately, means that you're going to lose some of the points that you gain. You're now down 26 going into the last GP. Sure, you got 16 points across that whole GP, but you need to do even more than that across the third if you want to get across the finish line in first place.
yeah, I definitely do agree that they could have been way more aggressive. They could have used shock at the last ramp here for AP to get second, which is definitely a big point swing. And now going to GP3, they definitely can't play safe with shocks or their overall play style. They definitely need to be a bit more aggressive here now.
I think there is a chance of it simply being some form of finals jitters, not wanting to throw away your race with a bad shock and simply choosing to not play it. But unfortunately, as we come closer and closer to this last race here, you're not going to be able to hold on for too long. You need to be able to make those calls and to make the necessary plays to get yourself in good spots here. And there's Tropical Factory. And I'm just going to let the expert speak on this here. What do you think of this as a track for mid spots here?
This track is definitely whoever pulls triple shrooms slash golden is going to be the winner, especially if you dodge and then chain a golden for the ending cut. That's basically your ticket for first place. But the gap cut at the big U-turn, that Mario Kart 8 type U-turn, is definitely a cut to learn. And again, STS, with the amount of times they've scrimmed, they definitely have the practice and the advantage over BUB on this track. So we're going to see if STS can take advantage of the practice that they have.
Well, we're going to see because I believe Alex has yet to use a single item, so possibly just pulling those triple shrooms at the start. Oh, never mind. I do think I see him trailing something right as I say it. So we're going to have to. Yeah, that Nana was unfortunate for Snoopy, just hitting that and immediately dying on stream. But there's the triple shrooms from Lucas and making it with 2 shrooms a little bit more than necessary. But as long as you make it, you do make up a lot of time. As you mentioned, possibly one of the shroom cuts that saves the most time in this pack, all things considered. So um, making him all the way from 5th to 3rd there, and within striking distance alongside Alex here, as Val actually does get hit out by Alex, and comboed as well. Great play from Alex there, allowing Lucas to get up into 2nd as well with this shroom, possibly going to be able to just draft him and get some blue protection out of all of this as well.
And this track is a sitter, but there is a very difficult bagging strat with bouncing off a truck. And speaking of
Oh
trucks,
no.
Lucas is squished by a truck, and none of the baggers did go for the truck bounce, so it's still going to be shockless. But it seems BBB is top 3 now,
Yeah.
so STS is definitely going to need shrooms here for the 180-degree or the gap jump.
Yeah, at this point, it's all a matter of how many of STS members can make the cut. Maybe none of them, even as that POW is going to be brutal from BBB there, and the wheelie lock sends Lucas off. At this point, I do think it's simply going to be either shock or simply a massive winning race for BBB. They've played the second part of that track excellently here. Look at the break that top 2 has at this point. Even a gap jump is not going to be enough to catch up to these two.
Yeah, they definitely. There are everyone took the gap jump actually, but
A lot of fails. Did see a lot, 2 failures at the very least. Let's switch our PVs, go over to Lucas really quickly to try and see who is in the mid pack. Val is actually one of the people that make the cut, so it's at the very least top 2-4 for BBB, and we do see Alex in 3rd as well. Actually, now in 2nd as he manages to head out Snoopy. Great play from Alex once again, being the hero for STS at this point. Definitely an STS shock there as Bolly managed to dodge in a Mega and is making his way towards the front of the pack here. That TC, a blessing in disguise for Snoopy. They're going to allow him to simply take the grass and get into 3rd here. That is at the very least 135 on the side of BBB. Massive race for them, and unfortunately Sparkster, it doesn't seem like all that practice against Za has really paid off.
yeah, that ending cut is definitely what helped BBB. I believe 3 of them took cut at the end there, which what helped them to get into top 3. And that truck hit as well is definitely shifted the momentum heavily into BBB's favor. And even though Lucas did make the gap cut, he did have to burn 2 shrooms, which meant he couldn't take the ending 2 shroom cut.
Yeah, 1348. Yikes, that is really rough if you're STS at this point. We're not completely into last chance territory yet, but we're getting extremely close to it. At this point, you need 12 points per race, which is at the very least a top 2 or a top 2 5, something along those lines. So yeah, a lot of work left to do for STS here as we come into those last 3 races, plus 37 even, as there's a little bit of a correction. But yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Sparkster. I do believe, especially considering that little truck fail, that last U-turn skip, that saves pretty much almost as much time as the gap jump does. No, a little bit less maybe, but it still saves a ton if done well.
Uh, yeah, no, that cut definitely is, again, one of the cuts that probably saves the most time in the pack. And especially if you have a golden, you can combine um, both cuts together. And Snowy did have a Mega as well, so it also allowed him to
Oh, we do
take the.
see a random here, but thankfully Siren Shadow is going to be picked. Sorry. Really
It
close
was
to the
one
random.
off, but yeah. So if you're STS here, especially that it's 3 races left, they have to throw away playing safe, and they have to definitely need a winning race here. As if BB gets a winning race, it's most likely going to be somewhere in the 40s. Then they're going to be up with 2 races left, which is definitely not an easy score to come back from. So we'll definitely need to see STS get BB out of top spots. And Bali actually does get a really good bump off Snoopy, so they do get into 2-3 here.
Snoopy most likely gonna save that room for the ending cut, which we know saves a bunch of time if done well, but we see Snowy going up as well. Alex and Lucas behind Snoopy. 3 out of 4 members of PvP up there. My goodness, that was really close to being a disaster. We know how easily that little bit of track on the left can lead into disaster. Snoopy can be forced to take that TC as a blue shell. It's thrown his teammate, and he is off, actually. Target shocked by his own TC and forced into 8th place. Let's switch over POVs to Lucas there, burning the Mega through the mid pack. Both our POVs, unfortunately, closer to the back than we would want to, as Bolly reds out a member of BVB going into the start of that second lap and passing a TC to one of the baggers as well. Great play on his end.
It seems JC is actually slightly in 10 right now, but none of the baggers did spin out. So, but it's still going to be shockless for a while, and pretty mixed spots right now would be in mostly the mid to low spots here. So it's definitely going to be a game of who's in the front pack, but we're not going to know who's in the front since both POVs are on the back end. Snowy is forced to use his star here.
That's really big. Burning a dodge so early without Frog being pulled is absolutely massive. Lucas showing it off beautifully there, immediately pulling said star as well. But JP is also forced in the back, and I think chaining another TC as well. Snoopy simply holding on to that blue there for the last member of BBB in first place there. I do believe that it is, well, it's not Val, it's not Snoopy, it's not Snowy, it is Ford, sorry, in first place, and actually top 2-4 for now, get my goodness, sorry, 1-4 actually, as Snowy, there is a little bit of a fail from Val, but thankfully, if you're VVV, you don't need any huge races. You just have to hope that STS do not have the shock, which could very well turn this into a winning race for them. But it doesn't seem like it would have been used otherwise.
It's definitely going to be a 1-4-5-6 for BBB, so that's exactly what STS did not need, was a winning race for BBB, as now they're going to be up in the 40s, so now they need at least 2 top 3 6s or top 3 7s now to barely win, so it's going to be very difficult for STS, but this is Mario Kart, so nothing's impossible, but
Definitely looking increasingly difficult, as you mentioned, 42 points behind now. One more winning race, and it's curtains for STS here. You need, as you mentioned, you need at the very least 2 top 3-7, top 2-4-5s in order to make it through. Not impossible. We've seen comebacks similar to this in ye old days of CTL before. But it would definitely be the first that I've seen in CTC at the very least.
yeah, I can't recall any massive comebacks, honestly, that in the last 2 races, but we could see one here, possibly by STS, and we'll definitely need an STS track pick most likely to come out here. But
Right.
Stars Cityscapes, interesting, honestly, as STS are 2-3, which is the good line, so not sure what they're doing with that track pick, but we'll see if it does get picked, and Psycho is picking Peaks, which is expected.
But it is going to be Cheeseland, and now the question I want to ask you, Sparkster, and possibly make a little wager on it. How many people do you think are going to be able to take the Shroomless here?
Uh, this Shroomless, honestly, is, I like to use this word, but it's a bit niche because it's all depending on how much you TF and also when you release your drift midair. As fun fact, if you release your drift after you TF, you'll get more air than if you TF a ramp and then keep your drift, as if you're drift tricking a ramp, obviously. So if people are going to know that factor, that's definitely going to help them get more air and definitely on the rail. But
There's a little bit of niche game knowledge for you, as we do see Lucas and JP both going for it, and actually both making it as well, with Bolly in third place. But it seems like we had a little bit of slowdown there, possibly not doing it too well. Snoopy choosing to burn his star early, getting some frontal presence done, not wanting to make the gamble on that star. But Lucas, after that Shroomless, is simply holding on to his in fourth. At this point, you're simply hoping that your bagger is the one that to be able to pull the shock, but we do see one of them being gone in 10th at this point. Is it JC? It is. It is JC being gone in 10th, and Lucas is holding that star in 3rd. That could be absolutely massive there for STS.
This is exactly what STS need, and especially if they actually no, JP's in 1 now after making the cut, so 1-3 with this star. This could be really good if JC does pull shock, but
There's
an
an into
unfortunate
blue.
blue for JP.
But he dodges it. He had a shroom still in his back pocket, and we do see Bali with a with shrooming up as well. JC forcing a little spin out of Psycho there, but unfortunately that means he had to burn the bill there, and Psycho is now back in 10th, and there is a chance Psycho now has it, and it could spell doom for STS as BVB is still in 3-4, two of the spots that you need, and another blue is thrown out by Snoopy in that spiral there onto JP, and this one he won't be able to dodge.
Stars forced out. Bali is teep out a bit, so now BVB's in top 2. We need a shock here, but it's not going to be coming out. They definitely need first, or else it's probably going to be Curtains, and no Shroom Taker, so Lucas will be keeping second, but
There's
BVB
one
does
coming up
get
to the left, I
one.
think. It is Bali, but it's 2-3, but 1-4-5 for BVB there. There was a Frim
And
taker, but it was late, unfortunately.
since they're up 42 and they get a winning race, then I do not believe it's even possible to win unless they get a pen, even with a top 5, as I think top 5 is a plus 41, so
Yeah, there's some GGs immediately called in the chat there, realizing that they're not going to be able to make that comeback there. So GG called by Alex in the chat. But yeah, really strong showing from BBB there. Snowy making it all the way to 104 points. Val, late super sub here, managing to get all the way up to a 96 point match with one last race to spare. But yeah, overall, BBB, despite a little bit of um, some mistakes or some good counterplay from STS, for example, on BT2, um, simply just a lot more dominance, both in the just mostly in the running department. Some really nice play in regards to items as well. Some good snipes, some good backs. But I will say, JT, unfortunately, losing, but being a lot more competitive in the shock department that I gave him credit for before the match.
yeah, the shot count was definitely, I think in this match was definitely the closest shot count, I believe. JC was definitely in 10 for a lot of races, and STS also did a really good job counterplaying the shocks that Psycho would pull and the shocks that they would use, but in the end, BBB would just get a small advantage, obviously, in the shocks, and that's what the difference is when it comes to a finals and a match 3.
Absolutely, a little bit of a victory lap for them onto yet Rainbow Road there. Surprising to see a non-flag team picking this. And Triple Red's immediately going to make it all the way to second place. There is with Snowy right in front of him, Psycho right behind him, running for the first time of this finals, to my knowledge. Little fun fact, actually, Psycho has a 48 point average in this season, the highest out of any player, if you don't count the minimum number of races needed to make that average happen. But yeah, unfortunately for STS, this is curtains for them, even with Alex running all the way into first on also another extremely strong running track. Speaking of which, but yeah, overall, um, really good play from both teams. Really good showing, going all the way through match 3. Even though it was on to 3 separate days, which I know both teams were a bit annoyed by. As we mentioned, JC in the pre-match, talking to us a little bit about it. Even he was a little peeved about the fact that they were forced into such a situation. Hello, Pau.
Oh, Fib. And he's off. Unlucky.
A little bit of a combo there to finish this off, but yeah, I will say, the early jitters from some of the players there. I do recall, for example, Lucas falling off on DBG with Omega is a big example of just some little mistakes that definitely piled up, especially at the start. The GP1 absolutely defined the tempo of this match. STS were pretty much on the back foot the entire time, starting all the way from that top four onto DBG. And I think honestly, this single race just pretty much defined the whole momentum of the match. We talked about a lot about momentum in general, about how it impacted the game, the players. It was clearly a show of that with BBB just getting such a heavy swing early and never letting off the gas.
And with the final match of the season, and even though STS do not go home with a banner, they could still go home with. I'm not sure if they're gonna do it with how D1 and 2 was merged, but if they're gonna have separate indiv banners, which I'm assuming they will be, but STS will still be getting a banner on the individuals with Lucas MVPing the D2 teams or the D2 section, so it'd be pretty cool to see if they do make a banner for that, but
We'll have to see. I don't know if Reichi is still in service, so to speak, to make those. But either way, I do know that they will be running it back next season. Once again, JC told us about it earlier. So they have a chance to redeem themselves next season with hopefully better availability that they had this season. And yeah, as you mentioned, this concludes our inaugural season of CTC. Of course, we are going to hopefully get a bit of an interview out of BBB there if we are able to get them in the call. Unfortunately, as a caster, I'm not able to personally ask, but regardless, an amazing season to watch overall for the start of this Custom Track Cup. It's been a pleasure to watch, a pleasure to cast as well. I know you must be tired of my voice at this point. You've been hearing it a lot throughout the playoffs. But yeah,
no, it's been pretty fun casting as I am. Again, pretty new to this, but with every cast I'm doing, it's a learning experience every time, and it's getting fun every time. Or it's getting more fun every time I'm doing it, so.
Glad to hear it, but on to the stars of the show here, as we do have the members of BBB slowly joining us. Hello, Adlo. Hello, Ford. Hello, Snowy. Waiting for the others to join before we start this.
They will not be joining. Yeah, Fast and Scoopy had a dinner to go to.
Oh, fair enough.
Psycho's here though.
Psycho is here. Okay. Well, first things first. Congratulations on your Division 2 banner. Any first?
Man, that's too easy.
Any first impressions for after the end of this match of this BO3 with us? Yes.
Just a good way to end it. I think we got better as the season went on. We were like what 0-4.
Yeah, we weren't doing
Something like that.
I think once we stopped picking Alpine Skyway, we started winning. Personally,
Hey bro, we almost got top 4 in
No,
match one of the
terrible,
finals, bro.
terrible.
I feel.
You're saying?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I wasn't saying anything.
I was just saying we stopped picking gimmick tracks like Color Wonderland and Alpine Skyway and just went for the flats like RT Pearls like Adlo should win on. So
Yeah, exactly.
You did pick a lot of the flats during this match, GBA BT4, BT2. We did talk about it before the match that you were definitely the more comfortable team on these more RT-esque track picks, and it definitely showed during this match as well. One thing I do want to talk about is Psycho. It seems like I don't know if you felt it as well, but JC seemed to be getting more and more shocked as the BO went on. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I did not play good match 3. Straight up, I came home from walking 40-degree weather and enough time to warm up my hands.
Oh, fair enough then.
Excuses.
40
Ew,
Fahrenheit for the
I pulled
Europeans to do that.
non-Chalks match 2, buddy. Where's the win there?
Yeah, but
That's fair.
I kind of cost us GP2. I was like constantly falling off for like 3 races in a row, and it kind of made it a little close towards GP3.
Yeah, it seems like we talked about it in the casting booth, but the very first race in DBG pretty much seemed to define the momentum. Just immediately getting a top 4 on one of the very few tracks remaining on your opponent's track list definitely helped a lot in terms of just straight up the momentum, and especially considering that it was with a shock that they got. Must have been a pretty nice feeling to just immediately get a top 4 straight out of the gate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely.
I
was-
didn't even realize we got top
Respect.
4. Like but we got top 4. I was like, oh shit, what the fuck?
Yeah,
We
I
lost-
think match 2, I felt like we didn't get very many blues, and I think they're probably the better driving team on CT, so it just allowed them to break away a lot. We got like an early blue there. I got it at like 40 seconds, so just being able to control first, I think really set a good tone because we got some good backs off them lap 2, which forced a bad shock.
Yeah, during map 2, we did see a lot of track of more like CT-esque tracks such as Glimmer Express trains, Marble Towers, etc. Things that you might not be as comfortable on as the more um, just raw driving focused team. Any thoughts about the whole season in general? You did mention that you were 0-4 to start, made quite the comeback across the course of the season. Did you expect to meet STS in the finals here, or was it more so of a surprise?
I'm gonna be honest. I thought we were gonna play TMNG.
Yeah,
I mean,
I did too.
I mean, going into the season, I'm sure we were going to play like Triton or Albatross if it got to finals.
Yeah, the
But-
first Triton win in the regular season is, I think, where it turned around for us.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Oh, the
I mean,
reset, the
me-
reset against Star helped as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. True.
Me personally, I was really expecting to play 6C and D1 final, but we'll have to take D2.
Because you didn't play every week.
Okay.
That's why we didn't.
Yeah, maybe
That's
work by
honestly, it's 'cause
Sadler.
I wasn't 10 for 10. I'm actually at work right now. I'm just sitting, doing absolutely fucking nothing.
Hence
Oh,
why he
sorry.
was so quick to join.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
I actually have one question to ask for like the team because STS was picking a lot of, I guess, Zot inspired tracks such as Obstagoon and Tropical, which personally me and Scopes weren't expecting, but I was gonna see it because STS was they definitely played more scrims as a team, and they definitely played a lot of scrims against
Yeah.
Zos. Did you guys have, I guess, any pressure? I know you guys got a winning race on Tropical and kept it close on Obstacle, but you guys have like any pressure, I guess, going into those races, knowing that STS probably had more practice just because they played more scrims.
I mean,
Against-
on Tropical Factory, I've been playing most of those STS star scrims, so like I felt like I was prepared for it. And like Bally's been talking all season about how they should pick Tropical Factory because they'll have more reps on it than any team barring Zar. So I don't know. I was kind of expecting them to pick it anyway.
Yeah. As a bagger, I didn't really think about it, but
Yeah,
It did look
I
like on the
didn't
minimap you
have
did go for
pressure.
the truck bounce, but I can't confirm that. But
oh, you mean the strat? Nah. He pulled Bill, and I just started chaining, to be honest. Like before the fucking before the forklift came
Oh
over.
my god, swear
Yeah.
not gas. Holy shit, we're gonna get thrown
Oh
off.
my god.
Sorry.
Oh
Bro,
my
you
god.
literally did like when you were describing what you were doing at work.
Yeah, but it's okay. I'm allowed. I'm allowed.
Yeah,
It's like
he
it was
wasn't
that.
he wasn't playing this match, so he's allowed.
Exactly.
Yeah, I also do want to talk just one more thing about goodness, I'm losing my question, sorry, about Val's performance during the match because he wasn't playing in matches 1 and 2. Did you feel like there was maybe a little bit are you still comfortable with this lineup in general? I did not see if he was playing often during the season. Was it more so just picking him up due to the availability issues with STS? What's the story behind that?
I mean,
It was
Val's been
literally
playing
50.
up there.
It was 50-50. It was either if I didn't play, Val played. If I played, Val didn't play. That's literally all it was. I think we can use the same people the entire time.
Yeah, I mean,
Fair
like
enough.
Val did well throughout the season, and like especially well against sort of in the Triton matches and semis. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we
I
had,
was
we had
gonna
a
say,
lot of
I
confidence in
think
Val. We just wanted to play with Adla because, for those who don't know, he's moving to Australia in the near future. This was kind of his last dance.
this
So
was the last dance.
we had to get
Crazy.
him in.
We'll see you next
You know,
season.
STA. Yeah.
You're gonna buy away in
I'll be on the
Australia.
I'll be on the roster for Caden M. Just peep out for that.
Yeah, that's actually well. It's a nice send off at the very least, getting one last banner before your big move.
No, that was actually really terrible. Forcing them to play at the only time of the entire week I couldn't play. I was really smart on Bali.
Okay,
Bali
buddy.
just wanted to get me out of the LU.
Yeah, he's scared of you.
Alright.
Yeah,
Not
the
through
fear of the
Texas
CT
yet.
Ruby.
Alright, either way, any last words that you want to mention about how the match went, about how your season went, maybe going towards the next season?
Nah,
Not really.
nah.
I mean,
Thanks
I
to y'all for casting on such short notice.
Yeah.
I'm deleting the BBB server as we all leave this call, by the way. So yeah,
You said if we
You're
lost,
not
you
the
do that.
server owner, so you can't do that.
I'm gonna
I believe it's
force
Jaden.
Stupid to give me that. Forcing Stupid to give me that.
It's Jaden. He could have been spying on us the entire season in our chat.
It's literally
way.
not. It's Snoopy. Look at our chat. Snoopy has a little crown beside his name.
But
Stop lying.
he framed one, posted the banners. I just saw, wow. JC.
Hell
Yeah,
shit.
props
Wow,
to JP for organizing the whole season. He's done like an amazing job.
No D2 MVP banners. Actually, kind of crazy.
Rip
Oh, yeah.
Lucas for that. Rip Lucas.
we were talking about that right before
To
you
be
guys joined.
fair-
Like, we're
to be
assuming
fair,
that this is a MVP.
JC knew it was my banner anyway, so he just didn't post it. That's fair.
Okay.
Right.
All
Right,
right.
of course.
All right. Well, with that being said, congratulations to you, BBB, for winning this Division 2 of the inaugural season of CTC. Thank you to you, Sparkster, for co-casting with me once again. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Malsico, for stream hosting once again. It seems like they've been stream hosting half the playoffs at this point and improved a ton while doing it. So thank you to them especially, and thank you all for watching. It's been a pleasure casting a lot of these playoff matches in all honesty, and I can't wait to see what's is in store for the future seasons of Custom Track Cup. See you guys later.
Thank you for casting.
Yep.
Yeah.